Hi guys, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Nathaniel, and we're the XP Bros.
We're here today to talk about Skyrim a little bit. Yeah, maybe that's a little cliche, but Skyrim is getting up there in age, so, it's an older game, but it's still a ton of fun, and Bethesda just keeps cranking out those re-releases, so...
Yes, they do. They love their re-releases.
Yeah, it's kind of a current game still, surprisingly, and it's been 10 years plus, so,
Yes.
Hey... Skyrim's 10 years old now, and there haven't been a whole lot of games like it since. Fans have been really craving this new Skyrim experience.
Well, for one thing for certain, no game has been as moddable as Skyrim. Even Fallout hasn't caught up in its mods quite yet.
Definitely not. Skyrim has probably more versions than there are, types of video game consoles. Okay.
There are more versions of Skyrim than there are role-playing options in Skyrim.
Yeah, probably. You've got Legendary Edition,
Special Edition,
VR for various systems.
and then you got the new Anniversary Edition, which really hasn't... It has mods built in, so they say, but it's not been up for modding quite yet.
Hopefully that'll come around soon. That would be pretty cool. But, Legendary Edition is primarily what we play. We play on the same Steam account, same computer. Then that way we can create these gigantic mod setups and not have to have two instances of, 1,500 mods. That'd be a lot of hard drive space.
And it's old school. So, hey.
Yeah, and it's kind of old school. We primarily mod through Nexus Mods, of course. That's probably the biggest mod site out there. Most popular. It's pretty well regulated, so you're not going to get a virus or anything crazy like that.
Not hopefully. Sometimes you get some mods that don't quite work, but it's about 90+% of the time, okay?
Right. LE right now, Legendary Edition right now, last count as of this recording was 67.1 thousand mods available.
And that has 1.8 billion, that's a B, people, downloads. That's just an insane amount.
Yeah, so people really like modding Skyrim. It's just an extremely moddable game. They did the right thing when they released it, making the creation kit available quickly and just making the game source pretty well open.
SE mods right now are up to 44.2 thousand, which is a lot considering that it's a re-release of a game that came out almost 5 years later.
Yeah, that was released on October 28, 2016. Of course, a lot of video game fans know that the original Skyrim Legendary Edition was released on November 11th, 2011, so 11/11/11.
Because a date gimmick is always a great thing for a release date.
Right, yeah, nothing like pressure to get it done by that day. Virtual reality mods, there's just not a lot. I don't know who actually plays in virtual reality. I haven't, and I don't really have a ton of an interest because I'm kind of old school. I like to just play with a controller or mouse and keyboard.
When we talk to people too over the Nexus or whatever, you might read Reddit forums. A lot of people hooked into VR, and it was like, yeah, not so much. The glamour wore off very quickly. You didn't have your mods. It was very hard to make mods for, so people kind of dropped it.
Yeah, but it might be cool. Maybe later on down the road when
someday.
They mod it, more. And how much cooler would it be to kill a dragon and suck out its soul in VR?
Yeah, meta rim.
No, not meta.
No meta rim. All right.
No meta rim.
All right.
So modding, we keep talking about modding, but what is modding? Some of you might be giving a big sigh of, oh my gosh, we know what modding is, but some people might not. I see people on Nexus a lot. Hey, I'm brand new at this. I just started modding, so how do I do this? Modding is just modifying the game. Anything from changing a value in the creation kit. I've done that a couple times, not much. I don't make mods, I just steal mods from other people. Not really steal, but take.
Thief.
Yeah, mod pirate. But you just kind of mod the game, however you would like. And there's so many mods, again, there are 67,000.
Yeah.
You got to find something you want to
You can add weapons, make your horses cooler, more followers. I've actually made some followers myself, so I guess I have created some mods, but it's pretty insane what you can do with the game. Some of the most modern of games that are supposed to be open-ended still aren't up to modding standards, quite simply.
Yeah, sometimes you get a better gaming experience from just modding Skyrim over games that are intended to, from 2020 to 2019, stuff like that. Now, of course, it's got its limitations. It's going to crash a lot, and that's what Special Edition did better. I've never played Special Edition, but I've heard that with the 64-bit system, that's going to really reduce not only your crashing, but it will also drastically increase the quality of mods and just how crazy they can get.
Especially when for Fallout 4 is in 64-bit, and that crashes a lot less. People just end up in houses more, and your whole settlement ends up turned upside down, but hey, it doesn't crash as much, so it's way more stable, right?
Fallout 4 just works.
It just works?
It just works, man.
So some simple mod examples. The unofficial Skyrim patch is pretty much a must download. It's one that's it does exactly what it says. It fixes bugs, it patches things, and so on and so forth. Sometimes it even adds features that were just clicked off or turned off, so on and so forth.
The unofficial Skyrim patch is a little controversial, though. It does come with some inconsistencies. I've seen some people play games and mod heavily without this patch, so again, with any mod, it's up to you, but I would highly recommend this mod. I use it. A lot of the big-time modders, like Gopher and Gamerpoets, they recommend the unofficial Skyrim patch. And then you've got SkyUI, and this obviously is to fix the horrendous original vanilla Skyrim user interface that was intended for consoles, and even for consoles it wasn't so great. But as a PC player, I just pulled my hair. I think I went bald trying to use that bloody console UI.
I remember watching one of my friends the first time I saw Skyrim played, and most of it was just him scrolling through the menus, switching weapons, and chugging potions, and I thought, okay, this is it. He was fighting this massive dwarven automaton, and you're like, all right, that's sweet, but then the next minute he's just in menus, and it was really boring. Actually, it really took away from a lot.
Yeah, but with SkyUI, it helps you to see the game better from a PC perspective. And granted, a lot of Skyrim is inventory management, picking out spells, picking out weapons, drinking potions. I mean, chugging potions is like what Skyrim is famous or maybe infamous for. So you're in the menus a lot, and you want it to look good, you want it to function well, and I've even got my game going where I've got like a paper pause menu, paper inventory menu, I've got sorters. There's all kinds of crazy things you can do with the SkyUI, and that it's kind of one of the bases of modding.
SMIM is another big one. It's a visual overhaul. That's SMIM. It does, oh my gosh, man, you can mod the ropes on the drawbridges and on dock posts and the cup, and you'll never want to look at an original cup or table ever again when you install SMIM. A lot of customization to it, to where you can add in or take out. There is kind of a baseline, but it does a lot for the game.
Yeah, the Static Mesh Improvement mod, that's what SMIM stands for, fixes a lot of what the Bethesda
just should have done.
Texture people should have just done. Yeah, like, I mean, it's already a sin enough that Bethesda can't make anything circular without it being jagged and screwed up.
Cabbages, basketballs.
Yeah. So, SMIM just improves those things where, the ropes on some of the pure posts weren't even accurately on there. They were misaligned. So, SMIM is important, and there's all kinds of customization. Because I found when I had an older graphics card, if you've got a potato PC or maybe just not a top-end PC, that it does affect your gameplay. It will crash more, it'll stutter more. So, but you can take some of the stuff out. I don't need the Solitude door to look like an amazing, awesome door, even though that would be cool.
Some of them do look pretty sweet, man, and you don't want to get rid of them, but every time you look at it, it crashes, and you say, I still want that.
Yeah, it's not very immersive to crash, and modding in Skyrim and crashing all are bad partners, so that's kind of a necessary evil.
Pretty much. And then we've got some script mods, some big-time script mods These are mods that affect how the game program actually runs. We've got SKSE is, of course, like how do you play modded Skyrim without it? How do you play Skyrim without it? I don't know how you would do that whatsoever. This mod allows for pretty much all the other mods to do what they should do.
Yeah, SKSE really expands on what Skyrim modders are capable of doing. It's one of the greatest modding inventions, one of the greatest modding softwares ever created. You get it off-site from the Nexus. You don't get it on Nexus, so you got to go on to, I don't recall the web address, but you got just Google SKSE.
We'll throw it down below.
Yeah, it'll be in the description down below, the link to it. Give them a shout-out, give them a tip, whatever you want to do. But SKSE allows for a lot of different mods. It's one of those things that you just kind of forget you've got installed, honestly. And Gamerpoet does have an awesome video on how to actually install it properly, so check him out.
Live Another Life is another big one. It's alternate start. Then this way you don't need to watch the 13-minute intro every single time you want to start up a new character. You're able to do things like own a house already, or I'm a hunter out in the middle of the woods, and you start with like a bow in a camp. Usually you see something like a dragon flying by, and that's kind of how they explain it away. It really allows for great role-playing options, or frankly, if you just want to freaking skip the 13-minute beginning.
Yeah, alternate start, Live Another Life is a must mod, I think. Like Nathaniel said, you just get the chance to just skip the carriage scene. You know, the carriage scene is kind of cool in the first time, maybe your second time. But if you're just... some people test out character creation, too. And oh my gosh, I would not want to have to go through that every time to do character creation tests. But Live Another Life is awesome. I love it. It allows you to really role-play, which Skyrim lacked a lot of role-playing opportunities. So this one really let you, role-play a lot.
Then you have RaceMenu, which is a big-time mod. It's going to let you create your character, tons more options, sliders for just about everything. Hair color, nose length, face length, cheekbone length, nose salient depth, width, length thing, some of it, hey. But it's a sweet mod. It allows... there's a few mods like it, but it really does allow you to do a lot with your characters versus the vanilla creation was a little lackluster.
Lackluster at best, I'd say, honestly. RaceMenu is really good. There's also ECE, Enhanced Character Edit. That's one I haven't tinkered with yet. I've seen a lot of people create really cool-looking characters with that, too. Some of the characters that people make in this Skyrim game, I can't even believe it's Skyrim. They look really good. Just crazy good-looking characters using RaceMenu and ECE. It's insane. My characters don't look that good. I think my characters look pretty good. Nathaniel makes good-looking characters.
They're pretty good, yeah.
But some people are just so talented at using RaceMenu. I don't know how they do it, honestly.
You needed to make followers, you needed to make unique-looking people, and then the crazy thing is when people start making, completely different races, and they make them look like the other video games, and it's insane.
Yeah, definitely. And now to touch on creating mods, again, we haven't really created our own mods ever. I've adjusted a few values for armor, or I've turned, a woman's dress that's heavy armor into clothing, because that's a little unrealistic, and I don't want it weighing 40 pounds. I don't want my ball gown weighing 40 pounds for my female characters. So I'll go into the creation kit, and we all know that that's a nightmare. Anybody who's even gone in there can attest how glitchy and buggy the creation kit is. Save often if you ever open the bloody thing. It's a mess.
If Skyrim's a dangerous place and you should save frequently, then the creation kit is the den of danger that is within Skyrim. But it does allow for all this awesome stuff to go on, so it's popular nowadays. Just knock everything, but it's pretty sweet at the same time.
Yeah, another one that's popular that I'm starting to delve into for just mod conflicts resolution is Test 5 Edit, or X. Pretty much every game has something like this. You've got Fallout 4 Edit, you've got Test 5 Edit, and Test X Edit is the generic name for it. Is a really great software program created by Elminster AU and some other very talented people. You can use this to create all kinds of... I've seen a lot of crazy mods made with TestEdit, and they run... These are some of the most efficient mods because they're not made with the creation kit, ironically. They're not affected by Bethesda as much, so they just run better.
They just work. And then you've got patches, 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 patches. You download a new mod to make your new bow animations, you probably need a patch for that. You download a mod to make your horses better, and then you get another house mod, you might need a patch for that. You never know when you're going to need patches, but hey, there are a lot of them.
Some of them are Finis for his new idols in Skyrim. That's an animation one that expands the skeleton, and of course a lot of people get XPMSE, I believe it's called. That's another skeleton, adds more joints to the skeletons. Wouldn't want to play without it because the Skyrim skeletons had some really small amount of joints and movable parts, so yeah, I really wouldn't want to play like that. Dual Sheath Redux is one that I'm getting into recently, and I didn't want to dabble with that earlier, but I'm just getting into it, and it's super simple, actually, if you know what you're doing. And it's cool. You can have 2 weapons on your back, you can have your shield on your back, stuff that kind of should have been in a game like this anyways, but it wasn't. Well, but hey.
And why we mod? Oh man, we could go on a long time about that, but I know for me, a big reason why I wanted to start modding was, honestly, the graphics of Skyrim weren't awful, but if you looked close at a couple things, and I'm not talking about that close with a microscope, they were pretty bad. They were pretty bad, they were pretty rough. We talked about it a little bit with Smim. A big thing was the characters were rough. They were just woof. You took a good look at them, and they were rough. They were scarred up. I get it that they wanted to do this gritty land, but at the same time, take a bath.
Yeah, it looked like pretty much every single person never bathed in their life. You know, like they were a Dark Age peasant. They were usually just gone or like just dirty, kind of fugly. So that's why modding is that's what we do with modding primarily. A lot of times is just make the game look better, make the men look better, make the women look better, make the environment look better. Everything looks better.
Landscapes, yeah.
Landscapes. You don't need to go crazy with it either, because character mods don't take up a whole lot of, VRAM, or they're not too rough on your system memory. And that really, I think, improves the game, because every person now, every NPC you look at, including your character, just looks way better than they did in vanilla.
Pretty much. One of the best things that you can get is ENB, baby. It makes your game look gorgeous.
Oh yeah, totally different. And there are so many ENB settings out there, and you can tinker with your own. It's crazy what you can do.
You pretty much can make your own off of any of them, really. You can take one. I took one called Vanilla Ice Cream. Started out on the performance, got a better video card, jacked it up a little bit, and then I loved the colors, but it was a little cold for the game that I was playing at that point, so I tinkered with it, made it warmer, made it brighter, made it more colorful for the game that I was playing, and that really made it awesome.
Yeah, Vanilla Ice Cream really makes characters, the NPCs, really pop. They look really good. I've heard of Snapdragon Prime. That looks amazing, too. I want to try that out sometime.
Someday.
And there are other ENBs, too, that would be really cool. I've seen, Gothic Noir, Gothic Horror ENBs that make it look like you're playing a horror game, which would be sweet, too. Put a bunch of scary monsters in there. That'd be fun stuff.
Pretty much. And then you get to some of the amazing functions and features in the games. We could go yet again on and on and on, but some of our personal favorites, I would say my personal favorite is Familiar Faces. This is a mod where you take your original player characters and you upload them into a shrine, essentially. They become enshrined, and it shows all your achievements. Some people love it just for that fact. But I love it because then the twist is you can make that character a follower in another game. They actually carry over from game to game.
Yeah, that's really sweet. Right when I found out about it, I uploaded it. Sometimes it's a little bit of a trick to get to work properly. You gotta kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. But when you do get it to work, it's really awesome because I like making my Dungeons and Dragons characters in Skyrim. And, I'll make different characters from our D&D universe in Skyrim, and I'm running around, you know, almost as if like it's a D&D party. I have a D&D party in Skyrim that I do, you know, in D&D. All of my characters are there, so it's really sweet, feels really immersive, you know, and if you do the right other mods, if you do other mods right, you can just pretty much make your own little universe of followers, you know, or one Dragonborn can maybe be tutoring the other Dragonborn, you know, your new character that isn't a Dragonborn, and that would be really cool too.
Pretty much. And then there's Become a Bard. This one allows you to go from tavern to tavern and play an instrument. You make a little bit of money in the beginning. As your reputation in the book goes up, you start to make more money, and then you can perform in front of Jarls. They give you magic trinkets. Some of them actually pretty dang good. And it ends up to be a really cool option for role-playing. I make some musical characters. Some of them play like one instrument versus others play several. But this allows you to do that more.
Become a Bard's older. I know there's another Bard mod out there that's a little more advanced and probably maybe a little cooler with more features and functions. But Become a Bard is great for Legendary Edition. I don't think the other mod's not available for LE. Is only available on SE, so, you know, LE players, I guess, just have to suck it up. But Become a Bard's a ton of fun. I've always had fun with it. A lot of my characters play instruments, but some of them are supposed to be actual bards. You know, in D&D, that's their class, so that really helps them just immerse in the game. You know, I really get immersed in the game when I do that. More mods that we really like are player houses. There are so many player houses in Skyrim available to download. It's ridiculous. Anything from gigantic castles to little huts, you know, for beginning players.
Some of our favorites are Hill House, which is a Gothic-styled house, of course, named after the horror movie, and kind of designed to be like an Addams Family type Gothic home. For one of my favorite characters, she's a Gothic-driven character. This instantly became her house. And another one is Dragonfall Castle. That one's sweet.
I love Dragonfall Castle. The mod author's name is Skyrim Laz, and it just is an amazing place. It's huge. It never ends. There's so many functions. It just feels like, wow, I own my own castle. I've got servants. I've got staff. I've got a banquet hall. I've got a throne room, my master bedroom. I've got this magical library. It's so cool. You can just spend, you know, hours and hours just walking around the place, goofing around with it, building your book collection, smithing armor. It's an amazing, really cool place.
And then there's Blackthorne, which is an actual buildable village. You're able to start a village pretty much from one individual shop, and you have to go to the workbench, and you just start building almost from scratch. Time passes each time you build something, so if you build just a chair, 1 hour will pass. If you build something bigger, several hours will pass. And this can suck up an entire game. You run out of money buying supplies. You have to go find more. You have to buy more. But it's a blast because as you build up the village, it gets better and better and better.
Yeah, Blackthorne is kind of like Hearthfire on steroids. I think it's more like what Bethesda should have made for Hearthfire instead of just building a house. Now, the Hearthfire houses are cool. I really like them. But they're a little limited sometimes. They feel a little scanty, where you're like, okay, I build a few shelves, a couple bookshelves, you know, and maybe a table here and there, and I'm done. But with Blackthorne, you literally are building a house from the ground up, you know, you're building chandeliers, shelves, rugs, everything, doors. You got to build it all, and, you know, it's really cool. It's simple. It's not that complex. It might sound like, oh my gosh, I don't want to actually go through and build all that crap, but you know, no, it's really cool. I really like Blackthorne. Neither of us even have it complete yet, and we put a lot of time into it.
Azura's Dawn Manor is another awesome house. If you don't want a gigantic castle, as awesome as Laz's houses are, but you want enough to house some followers and the such, Azura's Dawn Manor is highly decorated. It's a very pretty looking house. It's got pretty nice storage options. It doesn't have any insane auto sort options or anything like that, but it is a very nice house. In one of my games, I've actually gathered about 60 people there, and then I had to move a few out, obviously, because that's quite a few. But it made the game a lot of fun to just collect followers.
What's a ton of fun about Azura's Dawn Manor, Blackthorne, and Dragonfall Castle is that they're all in the Rift area, right there in the middle, by a Dwarven Ruin, if anybody who plays Skyrim knows there. It's by a mill, too. I don't remember the name of the mill. But we've got it where you can have all three. And if you buy Dragonfall Castle, build Blackthorne, and have Azura's Dawn Mansion, it's like having your own little fief. You've got the castle up, you know, in the woods a little bit, and then you've got the village that you built, you know, so that's really cool. Yeah, so it's like having your own little town, your own little castle, and you've got this huge wall going around it. It's really sweet, really immersive, and if you have like a knight character, you can collect taxes and sit up in your castle and rake in the dough.
And then when you're sick of village and castle life, you retreat to your manor, because what else would you do?
Right, yeah.
Another big reason why we mod is stability, because let's face it, these big games, since I was playing Morrowind back in the day and falling through the floor, is stability. That's a big reason why we mod. It is a lot of work, but it is worth it. You have to be careful with your mod order and other things, conflicts. It does take a lot of time to get it to where you have no conflicts, but as Darth said, there is no conflict.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, take your time. Learn how to mod. Watch videos. First time we started modding Skyrim, we were using Nexus Mod Manager, which was a solid mod manager. It's been phased out by Vortex now. But we used that, and we did what a lot of modders do. We did bad mod practices. We just would overwrite mod after mod, plug this in, take it out. You know, oh, I want this graphics mod, and this one, and this one, and this one. And eventually, the games got a little bonked. They got a little screwy. So we had to redo it, and we really learned how to use Mod Organizer, which is a really powerful tool. We use Mod Organizer 2 now, of course. Some people might not want to have that learning curve, might not want to get past that learning curve, but MO2 is really powerful, and it allows you to experiment a lot with your mods.
Yeah, I know we learned a lot from Gopher. Gopher has some great stuff, like we said, Gamerpoets. But really, you're going to have to get in there, get nitty-gritty, and it's going to be trial and error. You're going to load your game, and guess what? It's going to crash right away. You're going to load your game, and your character is going to have no head. You're going to load your game, and the mod just isn't going to behave. But as most modders will say, it's a lot of modding, and then once you get that nirvana, that perfect mesh of everything working, D&D and maybe Ocarina of Time, that's about the only thing I can say compares to a really well modded game, is something that good. I'm serious. It's really good.
Yeah, almost nothing beats a modded Skyrim game. It's just incredible. Like Nathaniel said, it takes a lot of work, but once you do it, it's worth it.
Worth it.
And of course, we mod Fallout 4 as well. So we've spent a lot of time modding. I'm not saying we know the most. There are modders out there who are crazy smart, crazy good with this stuff. But we know a good deal. So maybe later down the road, we'll make some basic modding tutorials if you guys would like. If somebody here is new, you know, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ever ask questions. Sometimes I know forums can be a little intimidating and people can, you know, say, oh, you don't know how to do that.
Know-it-alls, yeah.
Yeah, they're know-it-alls. But there's also a ton of helpful people in the modding community. So if you want some questions answered, feel free to ask them in the comments. If you're interested in seeing some tutorials, basic tutorials, let us know, and we'll do some. Simple ones, you know. But again, there are really good ones from Gamerpoets and Gopher.
Pretty much if you go to them, you'll be good. I really look forward to covering and trying out the newest version with some mods. You know, and then I figure in about a year from now when they release very, very special edition, I'm really looking forward to modding that one too. But for this time, that's about all we've got for you guys. Don't go yet. Don't go yet. Like, subscribe, feed a brother, feed the bros.
Yeah.
We need to eat.
We need to eat. We need to pay bills.
Yeah, just like you. So, thanks a lot, guys, for listening. I'm Nathaniel.
I'm Aaron.
And we're the XP Bros.